it happens with every girl where they get to a stage in their life where they start to recognize that they actually want validation from people, and that's why they struggle to be modest. Not about age. Yeah, I think with me personally, there was a point in time where I I failed to be modest, you know. Maybe not so the way people would do it in this day and age. It's not like I was wearing certain things that are too exposing, but I do feel I was convicted in some things that I was wearing, even though it didn't seem like that to people because it looks normal. To me, it actually made me uncomfortable because I was exposing my nakedness in an ungodly way. Yeah.
And your exact example. Now, if you don't look as a guy, it's like you're gay, and it's like
that's the problem with
I don't know, dog.
I mean, if your masculinity is fragile, then sure,
Yeah.
it's gonna feel like, you know, an attack on you. But I feel as if you have self-control and discipline, then don't look. Control yourself.
Paul says, run away from lust.
Exactly, flee, boy.
So don't if at church there are a lot of women who are
Very unhealthy, toxic way of thinking about modesty can force women to dress a certain way, act a certain way. Because I know there's a country, and there they force women, or it used to be a whole law that women must wear hijabs.
It's still,
Because
it's still a law.
yeah, but it's better now because women are actually resisting that. Because it was worse then. They wouldn't resist.
Yeah.
They were actually under it. So my chat is yes, it can most definitely be used to control women. Is it justified? Is it right that it's done? No. But do they use it to actually like force women to be, I don't know, some object that they feel is for their use or for their playground? Most definitely.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be used, but it is.
Yeah.
shame.
Just to note, the women are still.
Let me speak for myself. I actually had a conversation with my friend because I just finished high school and I'm like, I actually want to switch up my style, and because I'm becoming a young lady, I want to look more like a presentable young lady. And now it was a weird thing she said, but I didn't pay much attention to it. She said that, but like, don't do too much because you're gonna end up looking like a grandma. You know, you should be able to dress in that kind of way while you are still young. And I think that's the kind of thing I've been hearing a lot. Like, if you wanna wear revealing, do it when you're young, and then when you're old, you don't have to crave wearing a bum shorts when you're 50.
And I think patriarchy has weaponized modesty,
I
right,
think-
against women.
You know, when we did the poem Sonnet 130,
Yeah.
it opened me up to how Shakespeare was basically, he wasn't dissing his
He's
wife.
using an
Yeah.
He was using it,
uncomplimentary
to
way of-
yes, to
yeah.
mean the way other poets were using women as a
Making them
subject.
seem
Yes, making them seem so
perfect, which is unrealistic and unattainable.
yes, those unrealistic expectations.
When I
of
got
women.
level 7 for English. Hey guys, welcome back to the Triple M Show. I'm your host, Ebenezer.
And I'm your co-host Dean, and today we have some lovely guests. We have
Uncle Hushe, also known as Proverbs 31:30.
and
Andani Simandla.
And today we will be talking about fashion and modesty. And I just think it makes sense. Look who we have here, guys. Look who we have here. So sit back, relax, and let's jump right into the video. Okay, guys, so you know what time it is? It is time for the question of the week. And the question of the week this week is, who do you think struggles the most with modesty? Guys or girls, and why? So we got majority said girls, obviously. But I think the responses in terms of why were actually there were different perspectives from why. Here's the first one. Girls, because we are trying to be modest and look our ages at the same time. It's so exhausting. Yeah. Do you have anything to say about that, Andani?
No, actually, I agree. I agree with them though.
Do you feel like guys have the same issue?
Not really. I don't think as men we struggle with modesty because even growing up, we weren't really told how to dress. It was never an issue with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in terms of
Age.
like looking like an
May
old
I suffer
man.
from it,
Look,
personally?
you struggle.
Yeah, bro. Like, people be telling me I'm 20, 21. Like, no.
But like when I'm saying age, I'm talking granny. Yeah,
Not
because
really.
yeah.
I don't think our style changes, eh? Because I wear, formal clothes from time to time.
I think the problem is with guys, they really struggle with versatility. Like, someone to swank at church. And then when you go for an interview, swankily, you're not dressed formally. I think it's an uncanny thing, basically, for me, the versatility aspect.
Yeah.
But to dress modestly, really,
No,
So
I don't think it's ever been a problem.
I think it's just the time and place. That's when we get it wrong.
Yeah.
Konga, have you ever had that phase, especially because your brand is all about modesty? Have you ever had questions like that, or yourself in your life had a phase where you were trying to get into that modest look, but it was a bit awkward because you're looking like, an old person?
I think that it happens with every girl where they get to a stage in their life where they start to recognize that they actually want validation from people. And that's why they struggle to be modest, not about age. Yeah, I think with me personally, there was a point in time where I failed to be modest, maybe not so the way people would do it in this day and age. It's not like I was wearing certain things that are too exposing, but I do feel I was convicted in some things that I was wearing, even though it didn't seem like that to people because it looks normal. To me, it actually made me uncomfortable because I was exposing my nakedness in an ungodly way.
Okay. Yo, guys. Okay, you heard that, guys. You're not looking like it. But also, I feel like being modest doesn't mean not looking like you can still look good. You can make it like times have changed, fashion has evolved, and you can lean into that. Of course, you mustn't be the first one at every Nike store. Like I feel like that's when you idolize fashion and you put your appearance above God, like as a priority, and you make that your God. You make yourself your God.
I hear that, but like, let's not judge people who just has a preference for Nike and can afford.
We're not judging.
No, I understand
We're
that
not
you're not
judging.
judging, but I some people do get this thing that he's not fashionable. He's always wearing Nike. He always like people just have a preference for Nike.
And Nike has,
there's no problem
I
with
mean,
that.
Nike has different categories. There are clothes for Nike where you can tell that, okay, here they are aimed at a certain group of people, right? They accommodate a lot of people. So it's up to you as a customer when you enter a store, I'm going to pick this because this is what I want to wear. They give you a choice if you want to look a certain way and deliver yourself a certain way to people, because Nike has quarter zips. We can look formal as gents. It has, for women, it has...
How do you know that?
Listen. There are clothes for women. Like, they have these tracksuits that are covering everywhere.
Bet.
You pick and choose.
I think it's the only aspect that you see those people that say you're always wearing Nike, always wearing Adidas, you're always wearing this. Why don't you change up your style? I feel like just because you can't afford and I can afford doesn't mean like
so it's out of
it
a
has
place
to
of
be like a big thing that I'm wearing. Because I feel like we judge those people a lot.
Okay.
That way expensive brands. Sometimes it's really like they were born with the money to buy them, so they got that attraction that I like Louis. I like
they
this.
are the target market.
You understand?
Let's
not judge them.
Please remind me. I want to come back to this. People who wear extremely expensive things. I want to come.
Yeah, I just want to say something actually. So as to whether you can afford something or not is a conversation of its own. In the context of modesty, the context is modesty right now.
Yes.
So whether you can afford something or not, that's a thing of its own. We could be talking about different brands, ones that are considered lower or higher, but the point is modesty must be prevalent.
No, I understand that point, that modesty must be prevalent.
Yeah.
I'm just going because we mentioned, I don't know where I got it from, but I just feel like sometimes we are too hard on people actually who wear modest stuff, ne? But wear all brands or wear this type of brand. And then now we just be like, nah, why are you guys always wearing brands? You know, that fashion, that concept of fashion, not modesty. But I do understand the modesty part. We always have to, I feel like people should be modest.
You know what? I will just ask it now before I forget. Do you think like wearing expensive brands is modest? Especially when it's like that's your whole wardrobe. Is that modest?
I mean, if the clothes represent you in a modest way, then sure. I don't really think the brand in itself can make you seem a certain way or inappropriate when you wear it. It depends on what you're wearing, what the garment looks like on you.
Do you know what? Actually, when we're speaking about biblical modesty, actually, it's also about. It's actually not right to be too flashy. Hey, do you know that? It's not right to be too flashy, and I think it is normalized, but it's actually not right to be too flashy. And wearing expensive brands is being flashy. Am I wrong?
So what I'm gonna say to this name is, firstly, we're all different. Okay. What I deem as exclusive and maybe of a higher value or higher standard is not what someone else deems as a higher standard. So we could take someone who loves Louis Vuitton and someone who loves Gucci. Like, you might find that, of course, the one wearing Gucci has Gucci products. They're wearing shoes, bags, hats, that are Gucci style. And then there's one from Louis Vuitton who's wearing Louis Vuitton stuff, maybe perfumes or whatever they may have.
Yeah.
The point is that the one who has Gucci might look at the one who has Louis Vuitton and say, that's of a lower standard, and they might start to make what they are wearing more important or more, like, I don't know, more relevant because of what they're wearing. But the point is that we're all different. Our salaries are not the same. That's the reality we're living in. So just because something is exclusive to you, and I'm like, and you're wearing that, you have that, doesn't mean that you're trying to be flashy. It just means that's where you are. So, and I also think it's the heart posture. If someone is wearing Gucci, Versace, all of these things because they want to be seen, even though it's in the context of modesty, then I wouldn't say that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like
It's
I was gonna
posture.
get to that point where if you're
Sure
wearing
you were.
something,
Sure.
I feel like if you're wearing something to be like, I wanna flex on you, I wanna show them that I'm him or I'm her. I think that's when it becomes too flashy. But some people genuinely are of a different tax bracket.
Exactly.
Yeah, they just
So
can't
the way
afford.
It's the reality
it's
of
the
the
reality.
Okay.
The way
Yeah.
you swag on
bit.
a casual day, it's just like, yo, and they're not even trying to
Yeah,
say
They're not
that,
trying to.
right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll wear something, there won't be any brands on my feed. But when I leave the house, people are gonna think I'm too flashy or whatnot.
Yeah.
But
You're trying to show off. This is normal day. It's like
depends how you
reading.
put it on,
Okay.
So sometimes your fit might look flashy to some people, especially I come from a Kasi. I'll be wearing normal clothes and they'll think I'm dripping. So it's
Okay. That
heart
was a
posture
good
shift.
example.
The heart posture as well.
Okay, the next one. Girls for sure. We have a lot of assets and a lot of wandering eyes following us. So what we wear matters a bit more, especially in church.
Word.
Yeah, I think that one is. I saw that coming. The next
Wait,
one.
but can I get to that one?
Okay.
I feel like sometimes, people in church judge women with different figures. Like, you could get like a woman who's naturally has a wide figure, right? And a big bottom. Let's say a bigger
hands,
bottom.
dog.
Sorry. A bigger bottom, right? And then
Okay.
you find someone who does not have that. Like, no matter what she wears,
there's nothing
it's
that will
still gonna
cover
show.
that.
So I feel like we judge people differently, though. And then we be like, no, she's trying to show it. She shouldn't stand up in church. She shouldn't
That's
go
so
up.
sad.
That's, for me, it's cruel. It's not fair.
I think
It's
the real
aggressive.
problem is self-control.
Yeah.
Those people who have that kind
But you
of
find that
mindset.
it's women more than men that actually judge.
Actually, I want us to jump into this, because you guys are gonna make this question of the week thing long.
No.
Do you have something to say?
Yeah, honestly, what I've come to realize is that no matter what assets someone has, you're supposed to have self-control, regardless of whatever the person's wearing.
Definitely.
So, but also the thing is, as much as we don't want to assume that someone is wearing something to be seen in a sexual way, it happens where you find some women who want validation, who want to be seen and actually want attention from people, even when men are not trying to look, which makes men look crazy, unfortunately, but it's valid. So have self-control, don't judge, and just be mature about it.
You know, I heard this. I don't know if it was Kaya who said this. I don't remember, but it was from a previous episode.
Yeah.
And your exact example. Now, if you don't look as a guy, it's like you're gay, and it's like
that's the problem with
I don't know, dog.
I mean, if your masculinity is fragile, then sure,
Yeah.
it's gonna feel like, you know, an attack on you. But I feel as if you have self-control and discipline, then don't look. Control yourself.
Paul says, run away from lust.
Exactly. Flee, boy.
So don't if at church there are a lot of women who are blessed, don't
Go
go
to the other
church.
pepperoni.
Go to another
No,
church.
run away from where they're seated, dog. Don't leave church.
I think
Okay.
I think they use that as a way of justifying their behavior.
Use what?
Thanks.
Calling people like men gay for
Not looking.
controlling themselves or not looking at
They think that's what makes what they're doing okay. It's this thing of making excuses for nasty behavior or this kind of mindset, saying stuff like that. This specific person sent a long paragraph in my DMs. Let me just go to that. As the church keeps evolving, more and more people, more and more dress principles have become erased. Let me paraphrase that. Some certain ways of dressing have become excused. For example, as a child who was raised in church by African parents, you shouldn't wear a mini skirt to church, or rather to anywhere in general. You couldn't wear pants to church or even a dress in a way that just opens people's imaginations with cleavage or a tight dress, mini skirts, etc. But as of current, I've been seeing more and more of this. I even begin to question my own dress ethics as to whether I'm dressing modestly or dressing like a granny. And I think a lot of girls feel this way. Let me speak for myself. I actually had a conversation with my friend because I just finished high school and I'm like, I actually want to switch up my style. And because I'm becoming a young lady, I want to look more like a presentable young lady. And now it was a weird thing she said, but I didn't pay much attention to it. She said that, but like, don't do too much because you're going to end up looking like a grandma. You know, you should be able to dress in that kind of way while you're still young. And I think that's the kind of thing I've been hearing a lot. Like, if you want to wear revealing, do it when you're young. And then when you're old, you don't have to crave wearing a bum shorts when you're 50.
Are we supposed to respond to this?
Yeah.
Honestly, if you think, or if anybody thinks living their youth in an ungodly way makes them happy, then to each is his own. Because the fact that you want to enjoy sin now and the fact that you want to be immodest now so you can be immodest later just shows how shallow people are. So if it really is so important for someone to wear a mini skirt now, to wear a bum short now, and they think that this is living their youth and this is what makes life, then people are just more shallow than we actually acknowledge. So, because I've realized that even with modesty, people who are for dressing immodestly, people who are very not genuine with the way they dress, they will stand on their point and say, no, do this while you're young, wear that mini skirt, show your breast area. But then me, for having a different opinion, is seen as me looking like a granny and being uncool. But then people don't want to realize that if you think like that, yes, we think differently. And if I'm being called a granny, then I can call you shallow.
Okay.
So that's truly what I think. If that's what makes people happy in this day and age, to wear a mini skirt, a bum short, and reveal their breast area, then for me that's very shallow.
Yeah.
It's very shallow, very prideful, very needy and desperate, not content, not focused. That's how I see it.
That's powerful. What are the men saying? What are the men saying?
You know, I feel like those people are doing what they want, and if you want to seem modest and you want to dress modestly, I don't think you should care what they think
About
of
you.
your style. And I feel like in terms of the granny, chat, sure, sometimes it does,
Look that way.
it does look that way, but I feel like in fashion there is ways where you can enter into your own style and make it youthful. I see a lot of people who can genuinely cover up their whole body, but the fit always eats.
The Muslims.
And-
yeah.
Or like,
There's
There's-
Christian clothing brands.
Exactly.
There's so many.
Godlike.
but yeah, in terms of fashion, there is ways for you to cover up your body and dress in a way that you feel
It's
comfortable
fashionable as
in,
well.
and it can still be fashionable. I mean, even in the fashion world, there are brands that focus mainly on just like putting on an entire outfit that closes you down. And if you're comfortable in that, then go for it.
Yeah.
I don't think you should care what people say, because at the end of the day, it's whatever you're comfortable in. Because if now you're trying to please people and you dress a certain way
You're not gonna
and
be
in an
happy.
inappropriate way, you're going to find yourself dressing that way to please them. But at the end of the day, you're the one that's dealing with whatever,
The consequences of
exactly.
Type shandies.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
It goes to the question, actually, the first question I want to begin with. Has social media influenced your style positively or negatively? So I feel like with this one, it's a negative style, the miniskirts and the bum shorts. Yeah.
No, this is
I'm saying that question. It
Oh,
goes.
okay.
It goes to the first
question.
question.
Oh,
Has
okay.
social media influenced us, like in a positive manner or a negative manner, in terms of our style?
I think both.
Yeah, I would say both as well. It depends on what you take.
Okay.
Yeah, because what you eat is what you become, with everything. So if I go on social media and I see people posting things about modesty, it's influencing me in a positive way if that's what I choose to take and internalize. But if I'm internalizing things that are for the other world, for the, very modest, very exposing your nakedness in a way that doesn't please God, then if that's what I'm taking from it, then it's negative. It's immoral to my soul, man.
Word. And Danny?
I think social media has its way of planting things, even though your intention isn't to necessarily be influenced by what people are wearing online. But yeah, I think it has influenced the way I dress. A lot of the times I find myself scrolling on my FYP and then I'll see someone wearing a fit and I won't even think about it. I'll be like, okay, this is a good fit. And then, the next morning I'm in my wardrobe and I'm like, let me recreate that. So I think sometimes it does okay, for me personally, it influences me positively. I've never had a situation where it influenced me negatively.
It's big Abes.
I was actually gonna ask a question. That's why. Can I ask?
Yeah,
Do you guys think you're stylish? Do you think you're stylish?
Yeah. For my
You don't sound very confident.
Dog in his style.
no. I'm answering it that way. But personally, I think I'm stylish.
Okay.
It's my style. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna validate it. I don't need
Oh,
other
okay.
people to.
Oh, okay. Practicing what you preach.
I
Wow.
know
Yeah.
I know Konki.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know I'm stylish. I don't think if you have something different to say and perceive it a different way, that's you. What you like is what you like. What I like is what I like, and it becomes what I truly believe is beautiful.
Yeah, style is what you make of it.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Beautiful.
still
Yeah.
developing my style. I know Andani knows, like, my style
It's
evolved.
been changing over the years. And that's
I wanna
beautiful.
see your style back in the day, dog. Like I'll pay money.
You don't
I'll
have
pay.
out the
At some point, apparently, he had dreads.
Okay.
Really?
You know that dreads era, that crusty one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shake your jets.
Guys, I'm telling you, guys, I promise, if we get to you guys need to share this video then. If we get to like 500 views, no, 1,000 views, we will reveal the picture of Dean in his dreads era.
I can
Promise.
still take your girl in those dreads, bro.
Oh!
I'll take your girl.
Sorry.
Okay, but what
Just
I'm
don't want
saying
me
is
to
that,
answer.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
Oh, okay, sharp.
I feel like my style is still evolving because I like a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to make it part of my style. You understand?
Yeah.
And just have a whole catalog of different,
I also feel that way. I don't think I've found my style. I'm just going with what I have right now.
Yeah.
But in the future,
Ish.
When you're uncles, you're not gonna dress like
I
this.
will. I will.
And I'm gonna have a picture it up.
Oh.
Team, stop,
It's not happening.
please. Stop.
It's not happening, bro.
Please don't get the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Please.
Thinking of getting a motorcycle?
He
Bruh,
wants to
she's
get a
sharing my
motorcycle.
personal life on live,
no,
bro.
you have said this on the pod.
I've never said this on the pod.
Okay, my bad. Sorry.
Oh my
Just
days,
out here
bro.
exposing.
Bro,
Next question,
like,
thanks.
what if I wanted to pick her up? The motorcycle's a surprise.
Every day. Next, thanks.
Next question.
Yeah.
Okay, do you guys feel like you dress to validate others or to genuinely impress yourselves? Like, okay, impress yourselves. Yeah, let's just use that word.
I dress to be content with myself.
Type.
So, yeah. But I think also with validating myself, I could have validated myself by wearing something that could have exposed my nakedness in an ungodly way.
Okay,
You know, so I dress, not only to impress myself, but to be content in it. Because many times you want to impress yourself with what you wear, truly knowing that you're like, it's the opposite of that. You're not impressed. You actually don't like what you're wearing because you're not content with what you're wearing.
What I'm gathering is that you want to preserve, even though sometimes you want to impress yourself in a different manner, but you still want to preserve the godliness in what you wear. I
Definitely.
can get
because also like dressing modestly is very hard, especially when you are in that process of being content with yourself. Because you have to tell yourself that I'm content with what I'm wearing, and you actually have to believe it. You know, and you have to, with modesty, I'd actually like to present it in a different way. You have to see something. I'm sorry, you have to believe something to see it. People say you have to see something to believe it, but I could be wearing a dress that covers every part of my body. You wouldn't see anything, and I would still feel naked. So modesty is literally about your heart posture.
Type.
You know, it's much deeper than the eye goes. So I don't dress just to impress myself. I dress to actually validate the fact that I'm content, even when I'm covered.
Thanks.
Word.
Yes.
For me, I'd say 100% impress myself. Because even if I was to try and impress, social media or the world, I feel as if with the world, they're never pleased. You can never please the world.
There's always someone who's gonna complain.
Exactly.
Dog.
So when you do things, rather do them for yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's nothing you can do to please everyone. You know? Yeah.
Myself. What the question is? Sorry, like I wanna really understand it because I don't wanna say something.
Do you just basically dress for yourself, or do you dress to validate others?
I dress. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Like I do dress for myself. Like when I look in the mirror, I need to be happy with what I see. And I don't feel comfortable when I wear something that's maybe too revealing. You know, being a girl in this country. But also it's also nice to know that other people like what I also liked, like I look
definitely.
So I feel like you dress for yourself.
it still counts.
It's just confidence that gives me confidence.
Yeah, I think
What about
with
you?
me,
for others.
You
no,
have been listening the whole time.
It's for me, bro. Nowadays, I actually I'm into fashion nowadays a lot.
I can tell.
Into the things I like, really. So my friend, who's actually here, is behind the scenes. Sometimes they tell me that, hey, this one's not the one. But still, I'm a bite. And he does this a lot, actually. Can you please look at him just to honor him? But yeah. But you see, nowadays, I'm actually confident to say that, I want to dress myself. I think back then, I struggled with confidence. To be like, this is me. Okay, can you relax?
It's rare for you to open up, guys. Like we need to acknowledge.
Tell them.
Of camera.
Right. He's definitely always vulnerable.
You sound so sarcastic, but thanks.
He is being sarcastic.
Not even.
No, but just because we've been speaking about modesty, what exactly is modesty? And when we speak about modesty, is it only about the way we look, or also our attitude, our hearts?
I think definitely your attitude and the way you present yourself. I feel like modesty, even by book, you can define it by an implication of self-control and discipline. So it's not only the way you look as a person, but the way you present yourself to other people. You know, you're not always trying to get attention, but you're doing things in a very,
Humble way.
understated way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, when I was thinking about this, it actually became very deep because I realized that yes, there is so much more to modesty. Modesty is about the heart posture, but also it kind of got me thinking about how modesty is actually very different for men and women, because modesty has now, the idea and concept of modesty has been brought down to what we wear and not what we believe, you know? And when I was thinking about it, I'm just like, whoa, as women, when we think of modesty, we're thinking of clothes. But then for men, they like, we don't realize, but it's also about the heart posture.
Yeah.
It's heart posture for both of us, ne? But the way men act and think would show you that they're not modest. And the way we dress would make you know that we're not modest. So what modesty actually is for me, it's hiding your body, and honestly, not even hiding because you're not trying to hide, preserving your body in a godly way. Honestly, you know? Yeah, preserve your body in a godly way. In a way that's very kind to yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I
Kind
should
to
speak
yourself.
before she speaks. She just takes like
Everything.
what I was about.
Sure.
Nah, for real, bro. Because
Yeah.
I resonate with that fact that modesty is deeper than we've
The
changed.
outfit.
Yeah, we've changed the concept of
Yeah.
modesty, especially when it comes to women. Because we want to put women in a box,
Yeah.
Definitely.
like and be like, and then we forget that it's bruised.
The way you
You
feel.
do the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing.
Not even the way we think, the way we act, especially in church. Like, walk softly in the sanctuary. You understand? It means let go of pride, let go of ego, let go of whatever happened to you during the week.
Yeah.
But you find that I'm a deacon, so I know the gist of the church. I know what's going on. You find that this person has so much ego, and we are all serving one person. We're all serving God, right?
Ish.
You find that like we're fighting for positions in church. Wanna be the camera guy, wanna be the what guy. Like that's not being modest. You know, I think modesty is as much
Being
as
humble.
it's preserving, like I feel
Your
like
nakedness, like hiding your nakedness.
like you know, with God, the more we wanna follow the law, the Pharisees followed the law, right? But they did not know God
Yeah.
because they did not have the heart to know God. So
Okay.
as much as you can be modest, as Conke said, you can dress as she's modestly, but in
Your
your heart,
heart.
you're not content with being modest.
Ish.
Yeah.
Then boy.
Because then now you can't dress modestly and then shake. Now it's like, now it's like, it's still gonna label you as a modest person. I don't know. You see,
Word. You see, it can also
Yeah.
be behavioral with women.
Definitely.
Also be behavioral.
I know, guys. Okay, guys, we'll be back for the second half with more insights on what modesty is.
On the Triple M Show.
And we are back for the second half. And I will be asking you guys something that has been on my mind. Do you think it's fair to judge people based off their dress? Don't judge. I know that's your slogan, but yeah, like you said, the way you're dressed, it tells a story about you. So, do you think it's fair?
Firstly, no. I think that's the short answer that everyone's gonna say.
Okay.
But getting deeper into this, yes, we know that people who are all for modesty believe that you shouldn't expose yourself in a way that is not covered. You know, don't do it in a way that's just too much. But I also believe that just because I'm wearing something and you can't see my body at all doesn't mean now you know my entire life story. You know, just because you are seeing a very maybe expensive or not so expensive brand on me, that does not mean that you know what my tax bracket is. You know, and most importantly, it doesn't show you my character. Like, yes, what I'm wearing can show you a bit of what I like, maybe a bit of my character, but it doesn't show you who I am, like in general or in total. Same as how actually a lot of people who do some work that is based off of showing your body, you actually don't know those people's stories. You don't know why people You don't know why people are dressing in a specific way. You know, whether they're doing work that is considered sexual or whatever. You don't know that person's story. You don't know why they're doing that. Does it mean they want to be in that position of being uncomfortable and exposed? No, because everybody's scared of vulnerability. So do I believe that you instantly know a person's life or everything about them just based off how they dress or how they wear? No, I do not think so.
That's very well said.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to appearance, the appearance is the tip of the iceberg if you're judging people, right? So I think beneath that there's more to people.
So much
And
more.
you can't just look at someone and say, yeah, I've had you figured out. I already know what type of person you are. That's not what we're doing. You don't judge a book by its cover. And I think when it comes to modesty, not everyone shares the same values, right? So you can't say just because a person is dressed in a way that you deem inappropriate that they are a certain type of person or their intentions were a certain way when they wore that. Some people don't even see what they wear as inappropriate. It's all about perspective. And I feel as if when you see people and how they're dressed, you should rather approach them, get to know them before you actually judge their character. I don't think we can go off what people are wearing or their appearance to determine what type of person they are.
Okay.
I think you said it all, man. You can't judge someone at all on any aspect.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
the rule of being a child of God.
Yo, but
So-
come to church, the church aunties. I feel like if you were born and raised in the church, I can maybe see why they may, rebuke in that way. But if you do not know God and that's where my issue is.
Yeah.
I
Because-
think you highlighted an important fact.
Hence why I said,
Yeah.
Like, because you and Konke can relate to each other because you are children of God, right? Go
Yeah.
to church.
we
So
know these
you
things.
know these things, right?
Yeah.
So now, if Konke's you can rebuke her. That's not judging. And I feel like those aunties at church, they do have that right
It's a
to
religious
rebuke you.
spirit.
Yeah.
It's not something like, I feel like now as teenagers or as young adults, the moment we start saying, hey, these aunties judge us, you've lost the whole point.
They're
Dog.
training. Yeah.
Even the way they say it might seem like they're judging you, but that's not their intentions. I
Yeah.
feel like look for the intention when you're judged, instead of actually just being angry that you were judged.
Hence I said, it always depends on the type of values that we share. In
Yeah,
church,
yeah, true.
we share the same values.
Mm.
So it's easy to say, hey, like today, boy, what you're wearing
Does not
isn't
make
it.
sure.
It isn't it, right?
Yeah.
Because that person is supposed to know that. But with the stranger, you can't just assume that their intentions were that way, you see. Yeah, it's...
Okay, I have a question.
Eish.
This is my last question that I'm gonna ask, right? It's ill. My phone died, so I made a question. So, how do you guys feel about the guys that justify rape because of the way women judge? Because of
They're
the
not
way
men.
women
Dress.
dress.
Those aren't men.
Oh.
Because why do you lack the discipline and the self-control? And I don't think you should ever judge women based on what they dress for this reason. Because now when they're using it as a justification on why they do it, to me, it shifts the blame from the, the person who's supposed to be deemed guilty to the victim, right? It's not
Demeaning.
Yeah, exactly. I feel as if it's all on you. It's your character, it's your desires. And I feel like if someone is capable of raping someone based on what they're wearing, I don't think it's what they're wearing that gave them that intention or, because I feel as if it's what you would do. I feel like those
Yeah,
are the
there's
type of
nothing to
people that
do.
undress women regardless of what they're wearing.
Yo, on that note, when I tell you, I really, this whole dressing thing, I understand maybe if you're trying to do better, it may activate, but it's a rubbish excuse, because when I tell you, there are men that are enticed by a woman fully dressed.
Wearing it, exactly.
The more modest you look, the more they want to see what's underneath.
Yeah.
So, old women can get raped. Children in school uniform get raped. Like, you can't really run away from it. And it's because of sin.
Yeah.
There's so much sin in the world. And it's such a shame. But we cannot say it's because she wore this, she wore that. Fix yourself. Learn how to control your lust.
Yeah.
Type.
You know, when I heard this question, I how I like to answer things is that if people say they are for A and they're against B, right, and their point is understandable, I will come with B and try and make you think a different way, whatever is
Okay.
parallel to what you're saying. So immediately when I thought, if there's people, right, if men are the ones justifying, or certain men, because it's not all men,
Okay.
if men justify rape and say that a woman dressing maybe in an inappropriate way is the reason for rape, then it makes me think, are we as women supposed to say that a man can't provide financially just because he doesn't have money? Are we as women, because right, it's always this thing where women, it's all about clothes, da 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 da. Then when we come to men, it's all about money, you know? So my question is, if you can justify rape and say that rape is okay because someone is not dressed in a way that covers them up, can we then say that men can't provide because of lack of having resources?
But
I mean, if you had, you know, the resources, if you had money, we'd be able to see if you have intention. But my chat is, you can't just take it and water it down just to what you think and for your lack of self-control. You know, this is very complex. In like, I have so much to say about that, but that's what I'm gonna say. Like, you can't take the blame, and I get that, because it waters down the lack of manliness you have.
and
You know,
And we're not seeing the real problem.
we're not seeing the
It will
real
never-
problem.
Yeah.
Because it's been evident, like you said, Hori, there's been a lot of cases where men would grape a nun, they'd grape ukoko, a child wearing a dress. Because I feel like in the mindset of men, some men, right, the more pure something looks to them,
The more
they wanna
the more
touch.
they want it, right? They want to ruin that purity.
Yo,
Right.
that's
very
such
true.
a
Especially with
It's
little
very
girls. That's why a lot of little girls are whatchamacallit, are going missing nowadays. What's enticing about a little girl?
Exactly.
Why are you as a grown man
Shame.
looking
a
at a
woman,
child
yeah,
that
a
way?
little girl like
So
that.
it's never really the woman. I really don't care what the girl or the woman was wearing. It's really about where your mindset was and why do you think that way? Where
I
do you
think
even get the guts to do that? You know?
oh, I must be very proper when I say this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I can get you saying don't dress like this, it makes you a target, right? I can get that out of a sense of you trying to protect someone, right? But I cannot understand it when you are trying to justify rape.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Exactly.
I can get that, like, as a father. I'll
Yeah.
tell you, you being a target,
Yeah.
not just of grape, but as because when you the way you dress is the way you tell the world who you are. Right?
Sure.
Or
So
like a glimpse.
yeah. So if you dress like something, I'm gonna say the word, the world will view you like something essentially.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I can get it coming out from protection, right? Just for your integrity and
Yeah.
for grape itself to be like, don't dress like this.
Yes.
There's
We're
men who
trying to
target
prevent it.
Yes.
Right.
There's men who target women that wear like this. You understand?
Yes.
Even though there's men who grape women that wear fully clothed, you know.
Okay,
I
but the
get that.
chances are higher
The
if
chances are high if you're wearing.
yeah.
You,
But
you
then
get what I'm saying?
when do us as men take the initiative to open up platforms where we teach young children or young men so that when they grow up they don't think this way? Because we're always quick to find
To focus on the
alternatives for
women,
women and how they can do better so that they are less prone to getting raped. And for me, that's like, are we ignoring the real issue here? Where is it actually coming from?
For me,
Right?
where it comes from, Ibu Intavi.
Oh,
Like,
No.
you see, for me, like,
Yeah.
as an example,
Yeah.
guys who go intervene, right? They taught a certain way, right? Not all, but like there's the culture that a woman is a position. You understand? A woman must be seen as someone who benefits you,
property.
who does this work for you. They don't see
More
a
of an
woman,
asset.
more of an asset.
Less
She's
of a
not your
human
partner.
being.
You understand? So that thing, it gets diluted in their brains growing up. So the chances of us resolving it all has to start from the past generation dying and those cultures dying. That's the
Sure, I
reality
mean,
of it from that aspect.
fair.
I guess we can blame part of it on tradition and how the past generation has raised men to view women, right? And how men perceive women now. We can say that we can't blame that on the past generation. Some of it, but we can't necessarily say abantu basentabeni, because why? It's happening all around the world. That is a practice that happens in South Africa.
But
and
I think I'm trying to use it as an
example,
example
I
for
guess.
that from where it's rooted from. It's rooted
Yeah.
from that generation,
Yeah.
really.
I think
regardless of
Mm.
ethnicity or race,
yeah,
like
it's
it's
rooted
from that older generation.
So I think
men are
with
not
that,
held
it-
accountable enough.
Never,
Yeah.
right? They aren't. But I think with that, it also goes down to the fact that masculinity isn't taught in a
Positive aspect.
exactly right. As men, we're all an example of what Andrew Tate. They're pushing toxic masculinity rather than the real type of masculinity that's supposed to be taught or fed
Healthy
to young boys,
masculinity.
right? That's why these men can that's why men nowadays, especially in our age group, most of the time I listen to how
We speak.
they speak.
Yeah.
They
Speak
feel that if
about
they
women.
have something, they can buy you.
Exactly.
Yo.
Or
Yeah.
they genuinely they don't view women as humans.
I think
They objectify
you
women
know,
so much.
I hate the statement men are trash. Nah. It's true.
Okay.
It's valid. Men
Okay.
are trash. But I hate it because I'm not trash. You understand? I will treat you the way I was raised. Right?
Yeah.
And then I do feel like from the woman's side, there is quite a bit of blame. Because why are you going consistently for a type of men that is like this? Do you understand? I get hurt by it because then I'm
The
not
signs
trash.
are
Then
there.
you perceive
Yeah.
me as trash before you even heard the way I speak, the way I act, the way I
Yeah.
present myself. So I feel like,
I think that's
it's
actually-
predominantly
yeah.
the men are the one they're the problem. They're the problem.
Definitely. I mean, men are at the forefront of all atrocities, right? But it doesn't take away from the fact that women also do certain things.
That
Right.
feed into it.
Yeah?
That feed into it. It doesn't take away from the fact that women also feed into it.
Yes, they also saying they also are capable of doing those things.
Yeah.
Right? Men aren't the only species or gender that does these things. Women also do, but men are at the forefront.
Sorry, guys,
Right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you think modesty can also be used to control women as much as it is it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But I think
Doesn't it get to that
Yeah.
point?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, a very unhealthy, toxic way of thinking about modesty can force women to dress a certain way, act a certain way. Because I know there's a country, and there they force women, or it used to be a whole law that women must wear hijabs.
It's still,
Because
it's still a law.
yeah, but it's better now because women are actually resisting that. Because it was worse then. They wouldn't resist.
Yeah.
They were actually under it. So my chat is yes, it can most definitely be used to control women. Is it justified? Is it right that it's done? No. But do they use it to actually like force women to be, I don't know, some object that they feel is for their use or for their playground? Most definitely.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be used, but it is.
Yeah.
Shame.
Just to note, the women are still dying. It's still happening. The cops they will kill you as a woman if you're not covered, or if you're seen with the man you're not married to in public. It's really oppressive. And I think patriarchy has weaponized modesty
I think,
against women.
you know, when we did the poem Sonnet 130,
Yeah.
it opened me up to how Shakespeare was basically, he wasn't dissing his
He's
wife.
using an
He was using it,
uncomplimentary
way of-
to
yeah.
mean the way other poets were using women as a
Making them
subject.
seem
Yes, making them seem so
perfect, which is unrealistic and unattainable.
yes, those unrealistic
yeah, but now
expectations
you
of
got
women.
level 7 for English. Yes. Oh, okay.
So
continue.
yeah, it's that type of aspect that
Yeah.
let's not weaponize.
Let's remove.
Yeah, let's
that
remove
way of
that
thinking.
way of thinking. A woman would dress the way she wants.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, you heard that.
Yeah.
Women will
Dress the way they want. You must just control yourself as Mufana. If you don't, just remove your eyes.
Flee away from sin.
Remove your eyes.
Yeah, because I think if it's gonna become a problem, I think we're gonna have to start removing eyes now.
Yeah, I think.
Gouge your eyes out, whatever causes
But
you
the
to
important thing
Thanks.
about lust, right? As a man, run away. You cannot tackle it like, trust me, try.
You're not that
Run away.
my brother. You're not
Run
that
away.
strong.
That's it,
It is
run.
human. It is human,
Run
and
away.
it is something. To some extent,
Yes.
little boys don't have a control
Yes.
to. But
Even
you know,
old people, bro, run
Yeah.
away.
yeah. If you're
That
old,
one is a
control yourself.
demon. It's
No,
a,
listen, Paul says,
But wherever
flee
you
from
are,
sin, free from lust.
don't
Flee.
try and
No
be
matter
a-
how old you are, flee. Just
Yeah.
run away. Don't tackle it.
Yeah, guys. And that brings us to the end of this episode.
Like,
Yo, that was beautiful, guys. Like, wow. Shame.
Somewhere out there, there's someone who can't live.
Really. And has to be fully dressed. Look at us. This is a blessing. This is a blessing. You
It's
must
a
be
privilege.
grateful you have this freedom and use it wisely. Do you have any last words, guys? Word of the day. What is the word of the day?
Check your heart posture before you try and point out someone else's things that you might not like about them. Check your heart posture. And even when you have reached a level of consistency in the way you think and the way you dress and that you've come to love yourself, it doesn't justify you to judge someone else or take someone lower. So even if you're now dressing modestly and you're now, at a place in your life where you feel content, it doesn't give you the green
Flag.
or to judge someone else or to just become any demeaning in any kind of way, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a very long word of the day. But we love it.
Yeah.
And Danny?
dance.
What I have to say today is fashion, guys. Modesty, fashion. It's a form of self-expression. So I feel as if you should express yourself how you want. Don't go with how the world wants you to dress or how the world wants you to express yourself. It's all up to you and what you're comfortable with.
And you heard that, guys. Do you want to say something?
Lastly, remember the way you dress is the way you tell the world who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Also remember to subscribe. The buttons right here.
subscribe. Yes, guys.
You
That
say
is my word of the day. You see,
Put it here.
no, put it here. Put it here. My word of the day is comment. Your favorite. I don't know, guys. What are they commenting?
Your favorite moment of me.
Oh, yeah.
That's mean for you.
Sorry.
No, man. Comment one of your favorites clothing brands that support modesty, maybe.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
And the second one, the first one.
Like, share, subscribe, and go to our social media platforms. We have TikTok, we have Instagram. Please follow and enjoy Triple M's show studios.
Tight.